I would now like to introduce Dr. Girish Kumar sir for the keynote address. Dr. Girish Kumar sir is Assistant Professor and Head of the Department of Law, School of Legal Studies, Central University of Kerala. He is currently serving as Assistant Professor and Head of Department of the Central University of Kerala. He is graduate in both economics and law and postgraduate in constitutional and administrative law. He has specialized in human rights of underprivileged, differently abled, and the working class. Dr. Girish Kumar has done extensive research in the field of disability, law, and human rights, and has acquired PhD from the University of Kerala in the year 2012 on the topic of legal protection of mentally challenged people in India. He has served as an assistant professor in the Faculty of Law, University of Delhi, for a period of 10 years from 2005 to 2015. Dr. Girish Kumar has a considerable number of publications to his credit as well in national as well as international journals on various topics, ranging from human rights of the marginalized sections to constitutional and administrative law of India. He has participated and presented research papers in several national and international conferences, including the annual International Conference on Law, Regulation, and Public Policy, organized by the Global Science and Technology Forum in Singapore. He is an academic member in the Global Science and Technology Forum, an international body, and is a life member in the All India Law Teachers Congress, which is a national level organization of law teachers in Indian universities. Dr. Girish Kumar sir is a visiting.
Girish Kumar sir, you can start your mic.
Hello, sir.
Yes,
Sir?
yes. Please
Yes.
start.
I am Vishwanath audible, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, a very good morning to one all. All gathered here degrees for the International Virtual Conference on Global Research to join this Augustus event as a keynote speaker. I take this opportunity to greet the chief organizer of the event and my close friend, Dr. Prakash Divagaran, sir, CEO of Integrated Global Research Conference Forum. The patrons of the event, Honorable Prakash Patel, President Ramanati Mandal, Honorable T.G. Mahar, Chairman Ramanati Mandal, and Honorable Devendra Margavkar, Honorable Secretary of Ramanati Mandal, and members of the organizing committee, Mr. S.S. Shavale, Principal, Ramanati Mandal, Narayangaon, Pune, Dr. G.Y. Chitoy, President, Indian Accounting Association, Dr. Y.R. Principal, Huzur Mukaga Mahila Vaniya Mahavidyalaya, Rani Mahavidyalaya, then Dr. J.P. Bosale, General Secretary, Indian Accounting Association, Pune, Dr. Neha Puranik, Joint Secretary, IAA branch, Honorable Parag Shah, Vice President, IAA branch, Dr. S.T. Takelka, HOD Commerce College, and especially to Indian Accounting Association, who is a collaborative institution in this event for discipline of law. Our time is so transitional and very much important or eventful with regard to the discussions on the liberty, equality, and freedom of the citizens. Today I have chosen this topic, liberty and right to development. And right to development is a recent concept. We have concepts like the right to life, right to liberty, right to freedom, right to information, right to education, everything in place. Constitutional jurisprudence as well as international legal initiatives. But there is more the novel one called Right to Development. I have prepared the stuff with the help of my related research scholar Arjun Phillips George, who is this event with me for helping me to back up my presentation because I am always having some vulnerabilities in regard to my PowerPoint opinion, my own end. So we can have a brief discussion over liberty, equality, and right to development, which is everybody's concern, especially in the time of public
Girish Kumar,
criticism,
excuse me, Girish Kumar sir.
state, and issues of national security and contempt of court, that kind of all conflicting interests and ideas. Okay, sir, there is one more device.
Yeah, nearby you, there is a one more device.
Switch on.
That is why it is
I'm
beaming.
joining from my laptop and I have switched on that only.
Only there is no phone is available
Any other
nearby you. No?
microphone off?
Okay. Arjun Phillips' mic is off. Only this is okay. Okay, you continue.
Hello.
Yes,
Okay, now,
you can continue. There is a echo is coming. That is why.
Okay, so we go with the discussion on liberty, equality, and right to development. As you please move the slide. Liberty, equality. First, we can turn to equality. Arjun, can you hear me? Arjun,
Yes.
Arjun, the slide is not moving. Yes. Equality and liberty in all facets constitute the cornerstone of human development, no doubt. But all development of human beings is one of the main concerns of law and legal system. Actually, legal system for law is made for human good. That's why we have laws for generating the welfare and preventing and punishing the crimes, etc. The ultimate end of a legal system is to the welfare and development of human beings, along with other living things. But existing inequalities and disparities, we all know that in the society there are inequalities and disparities created by men as well as existing from the prehistoric period. Both inter and intrastate embraces various dimensions of socioeconomic levels in the form of poverty, destitution, malnutrition, child labor, gender injustices, and caste discrimination. So, this problem of inequality is coupled with statelessness, we know, displacement in the name of development. All these result in inequalities in society, be it aggravated or initiated by the state or non-state actors. Inequality is a major enemy of the society. Inequalities and disparities draw sustenance from unjust and inequitable social structures and systems and institutions that essentially bolster equality practices. So what can be done to do away with inequality and generate equality? And we all know that equality cannot be generated on a fine model. So still there is an echo coming, I hope.
Sir, no other microphones are on. The echo is being generated from there only. So I think you can open a window.
And I'm going on. So we come back to the introductory part of our topic, that is inequalities and disparities draw sustenance from unjust and inequitable social structures, systems and institutions that essentially bolster exploitative practices. Historically, politically, ethnically, or racially, or socially, there are reasons for every system to bolster exploitative practices and inequalities. So the end motive or the chief objective of every legal system is to address such inequalities. We can move forward. Arjun, we can move. The history of various civilizations has been an onward march towards securing human dignity, best expressed in the struggle for justice, freedom, and equality. We have witnessed many struggles in the history of mankind. Struggles against racial discrimination, struggles against apartheid, struggles against slavery, struggles against oppression and discrimination of every kind. And this struggle is a continuous process. It's not going to end on a day. And we can see the struggle against oppression, injustice, and discrimination, which has been a common thread in all societies, every civilization, every political or legal system, whether democratic or other type of system. The people are always working for generating equality and eradicating injustice and discrimination. Constitutional governance and rule of law had been greatly influenced by man's desire that his fullest development can be possible only when socio-political order is ordained by equality and liberty. There is no doubt. The socio-political development and man's fullest desire for constitutional governance and rule of law depends largely on a peaceful and democratic social order. We can move forward, Arjun. Right to equality, a very important concept and concern for everyone. See, there is a saying in the beginning of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the chief document of global human rights protection, put forward by the United Nations in the year 1948, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, we abbreviated UDHR. All people are born free and equal in dignity and rights. Very important statement. All people are born free and equal in dignity and rights. Means by mere statement in the UDHR, people are not going to become equal and free in dignity and rights. So how can it be possible? So the statement says, or it implies, it is the duty of the member states of the United Nations to ensure that all people across the globe are treated equal in dignity and rights and made free for their choices. We know that theorization of how ideas of rights might be applied in social practices to promote equality, social justice, and human rights happened in the very early stages of development. People have started thinking about human rights and equality from the very beginning of human civilizations. While human rights work contributes to the development of a fairer and more equal society, it appears that these rights do not go far enough in seeking the level of social change either. In spite of all these centuries of struggles, the struggle could not go much forward. Very, very pathetic and concerning situation. There is a picturization of equality and inequitable inequality. See, there is a fruit-bearing tree. Fruit-bearing tree, it's tilted towards one child's side and the other child is denied access. In the first figure we can see. It speaks about inequality. Then moving to the next slide, we can see equality. Both the children are given a uniform size of ladder, but owing to the tilting of the tree towards one side, one child only is able to access it still. There is equality, equal facilities are given, but one child is still denied access. In the third picture, you can see equity. Equity happens when the inaccessible person is given more sizable access. Because of the tilting of the tree towards one side, justice is generated. Justice is generated by giving uniform size of ladder to both the children, but making the tilted tree straight by doing some additional stand or keeping some additional tools on the tree. So the social system can be considered, or social resources can be considered to be the tree here. And to generate justice, it is not only necessary that equal sized ladder must be given to all, but the tree of social resources, social system also should be straightened to avoid tilting it towards some section of the society. When the majority is in power, for example, the tree will be tilting towards the majority rights. The minority may be denied rights. But the state, by providing equal ladders, will say that you are also given equal facility, but you are not accessing. It's not my problem, but it is not justice. Justice is generated when the equal facility is given to all, and the social system also is made impartial and accessible to all. So that is a very important concern. We can move forward, Arjun. Liberty, another important concept. We know man is born free, but everywhere he is in chains. Jean-Jacques Rousseau, who has been a great ideologist behind the French Revolution, has once remarked that man is born free, but everywhere he is in chains. Because the statement clearly makes it understandable that inequality and disparities are created by humans. The society, the nature doesn't make people unequal. And by birth, everyone is free. And it is the system, social, political, legal, or administrative systems that make human beings in chains. We can see Magna Carta, known as the Great Charter of Liberty, which placed the values of equality and liberty on a high pedestal. In the 12th century itself, the people of Europe have realized the value of freedom, that good governance is no substitute for self-governance. Whatever is the nature of good in a system, if it is not a democratic or self-governing one, it cannot be acceptable. The contributions of John Hobbes, John Locke, and Jean-Jacques Rousseau to individual freedom and equality of men were epoch-making and of seminal importance, in as much as the later developments were greatly influenced by their thoughts. No doubt that these great men have influenced the thinking of liberty and freedom across the globe for generations followed. We can move forward, Arjun. The discussion of liberty, we can move on. Documents which repose tremendous faith in the inalienable rights of human beings, which essentially were equality of all men and the innate liberty are. We can see American Declaration of Independence. After a great struggle, America has declared its independence with a Charter of Rights. Then French Declaration of the Rights of Man and Other Citizens, 1789, French Revolution. Liberty, equality, and fraternity. Everyone's freedom, everyone is equal, and everyone is close to another, like brotherhood, fraternity, brotherhood. Then American Bill of Rights in 1791, the amendment in the American Constitution, put forward the Charter of Rights, the basic fundamental human rights, which has paved the way for a number of nations to follow and borrow the concept of basic human rights and incorporate in their own constitutions. And even great documents like Universal Declaration of Human Rights have got influenced by these important documents. We can move forward, Arjun. Liberty would then comprise the following essentially. Arjun, development of human personality, 1 point. Everyone's freedom, choice, well-being, dignity, happiness, enlightenment, all must be ensured. Individual empowerment of weaker sections of the society. The weaker section must be given more protection, individual attention, no doubt. By providing equal ladder, you cannot say that you are given equality. No. You should go and give more protection to the more deserved. Freedom from discrimination, freedom from exploitation and injustices. No doubt laws are made for it. And facilitating opportunities and creating social arrangements and conducive, which are conducive to development. You should not bring about development in isolation. You should arrange and ensure the conducive environment for development first. Okay, there should be a wall, there should be clean wall for drawing a beautiful picture. We can move forward, Arjun. Then the setting up of International Labour Organization, a very important organization ensuring the rights of not only the labor force, the workforce, but many concerned across the globe. All human beings, we can see in the guiding principle of ILO, it is stated that all human beings, irrespective of race, creed, or sex, have the right to pursue both their material well-being and spiritual development in conditions of freedom and dignity, of economic security and equal opportunity. The term equal opportunity is very, very important. All should be given equal access to the opportunities and economic security. That's why we have provident fund, gratuity, pension, bonus, maternity benefit, workmen's compensation, everything. One can say that the work is paid by wage. Then why should be there gratuity, bonus, pension, provident fund, maternity benefit, etc.? The answer is economic security and dignity of the individual is very much important. One cannot be able to, may not be able to work for some time, or at a certain point one may cease to be capable of working, but his life should be protected. He too is having dignity of human life. So economic security and equal opportunity, the flagship points put forward by ILO are very important in the discussion of liberty, equality, and freedom. Move to right to development, the recent concept. It is an inalienable human rights by virtue of which every human person and all peoples are entitled to participate in, contribute to, and enjoy economic, social, cultural, and political development, in which all human rights and fundamental freedoms can be fully realized. You cannot simply declare some rights and tell that you are given rights, it's up to you to enjoy that. No. The right to development, right to access all these rights also is very important. There comes the mechanisms like judicial enforcement of rights. You cannot simply give rights and say that you take the rights. No. There may be people who are unable or ineligible or incapable of accessing rights. So an all-round development, all-round ability to access all these rights, we can call it right to development. And right to development is not restricted to the physical or infrastructure development in the society, like building of bridges, roads, and big structures. No. It focuses on human development, how an individual is able to access the fruits of development, his level of education, his level of health, his level of like capability of accessing his rights. And this right to development entails everyone to participate in contribute to and enjoy development in economic, social, and cultural and political dimension. All-round development, we can simply say. Right to development is all-round development. Move forward, Arjun, please. The notion of human development focuses, we can move forward, Arjun, on the centrality of man as a participant and beneficiary of the development process. Man means humans. That warrants appropriate social and economic strategies for eradication of socio-economic injustice. Socio-economic injustice resulting from caste-based, gender-based, race-based, ethnicity-based differences. That kind of injustice must be eradicated first to enable everyone to access their basic rights. The human rights values of equality, liberty, and dignity and socio-economic justice must infuse development to usher in new social order. Very important point. All these values should be infused in the process of development. So we can move forward to explain it further. Move forward, please, Arjun. Human development has been understood in two ways. In the context of individual utilitarian concept, Jeremy Bentham, the great jurist, has theorized the utilitarian concept that laws and rights should be granting pleasure to the majority and pain to the minority. If a law is acceptable to the majority and rejected by a minute minority, it can be acceptable. That is utilitarian concept. Maximum pleasure, maximum satisfaction of the maximum people is the objective. That is utilitarian concept developed by Jeremy Bentham. And in the context of society also, laws should not only generate individual comfort, it should ensure the protection of principles of social justice collectively in society. So individual well-being as well as coupled with collective development of the society, that is the sum total of right to development. We can move forward, Arjun. Right holders and duty bearers, very important concept. We can say upon whom the right is held, who is holding the right. Human being, both individually and collectively. Individuals have rights, groups have rights. Every man is having a right, every woman is having a right, every child is having a right. But women as a whole, as a group, having certain rights. Children as a group having certain rights. For transgender, the new emerging LGBTQ community, individually as well as a group having certain rights. So all people are, and the entire population are the right holders. Then you can see the duty bearers. Their right should correspond to a duty. If I have a right, somebody else have a duty to ensure my right. That is the state. Even though right is inherent, human rights are inherent in human being. Nobody, even the state, should not give human rights because it is inherent in human rights. But even though right is inherent, the duty to ensure and enforce that right is given to the state. We can say that is also inherent upon the states. State means governance bodies, the regime. So internally through laws and programs, policies, national laws, every state is ensuring rights protection. International through policies like treaties and covenants, conventions between nations, international peace accords. These rights are ensured by states collectively. We can move forward, Arjun. The concluding remarks, I can say the right-based approach and democratic process is significant to understand the concept of human development, no doubt. Then political liberties and democratic freedoms are integral to humans. We have discussed these at length. And development signifies broadening of human freedoms and dignity, and also creating necessary social arrangements for supporting or facilitating these freedoms and dignity. According to the Human Development Report 2009, we can see the purpose of human development is to secure freedom, well-being and dignity of all people everywhere. We cannot say that we are not a member. One nation cannot take a stand that it is not a member in such an international body. It has not ratified, it is not a signatory to that particular document. So that right is not available to our society, our people. No. People everywhere should be able to protect and enforce their rights. Okay, move forward. Development ideally means what? Freedom from discrimination. We have already mentioned. We can move forward. Arjun. Gender, race, ethnicity, nation, origin or religion, no ground for inequality. Freedom from want. Thomas Jefferson in American Parliament has given 3 freedoms. Freedom from want, freedom from fear, freedom from speech and expression. See, freedom from want means you are stopping from raising your want. No. It means all the resources required for satisfying your wants are available. That is freedom from want. You don't have a further want. You are given all. Freedom to development and realize one's human potential. Everyone is having that right to express himself and grow. Freedom from fear. Freedom from fear means you are stopped, you are stopped from being afraid of. No. Whatever element is around you to make you afraid is removed. Then you are given freedom from fear. Social security, political stability, many things are to be there. Then freedom from injustice and violations of the rule of law. Important. Freedom of thought and speech, and participate in decision making and form associations. Freedom for decent work without exploitation. Social security, the ILO concept we have explained. We can move forward, Arjun. The concept of social justice is primarily based on the idea that all men are equal in the society without distinction of religion, race, caste, color, or creed. We have discussed enough on that. And it also means the absence of privileged classes in society. Some are equal and some are more equal. We must have heard. It cannot be promoted. Everyone is equal means everyone is equal before law and granted equal protection of law. Article 14 of the Indian Constitution underlines this. The more equality there is in a state, the more use in general we can make of our freedom. Without equality, liberty is meaningless. Without equality, right to development is meaningless. Because if there is no equality, people are not allowed to access the fruits of equality and development. People are not allowed to enjoy or enforce their rights to equality and development, to freedom and liberty and development. So equality is more important than the coming to the close of our discussion. We can move forward, Arjun. To enjoy and utilize their freedom, to keep away from, to eradicate the way of exploitation. A developmental perspective on rights would mean that all-round development of everybody in the society is essential, economic, social, and cultural, along with the freedom of enjoyment. Social justice is essentially a paradigm of human development. So, to conclude, I can say, we can move forward, Arjun. Especially in this morning, in this forum of our international event on sustainability development. Arjun, move forward, please. Our theme is sustainability development in business, life, etc. So we can say there should be development with a human face. There should be human rights with a human face. There should be equality with a human face. And there should be liberty with a human face. Thank you all for listening, having listened to me patiently for this half-an-hour presentation and address. And sorry for the inconvenience caused owing to the technical problem in between. Thanking everyone, the dignitaries, and my close friend, the chief organizer, Prakash Divagaran Sir, Manoj Jain, and my research student, Arjun Philip George, for supporting me. Thank you.
Any questions from any participants?
Yes, sir.
Start your video and ask.
Yes, Dr. Girish Kumar, sir. Excellent presentation
Morning, thank you.
on liberty, equality, and right to development. So my first question to you is, what do you think? In reality, at the ground level, have we achieved equality?
Your good name, can you introduce you if you don't mind?
Yes, sir. Dinesh Panikar from Pune, Maharashtra, Assistant Professor, Indira College of Commerce and Science.
Very good, very good. Very good. Actually, this question, your question is excellent in the sense that in our Constitutional Assembly debates also, when we had in our Indian Constitution Article 14, 15 and 16. 14 says that equality, there is, everyone is equal. Equality before law and equal protection. Then in 15 and 16, the Constitution framers have gone for according some special consideration to certain classes like women, backward classes, so scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, etc. So many people have raised a question that why we are putting special considerations to certain classes when we are saying about inequality in a previous article. The discussion in the Constitutional Assembly has culminated in a point that the society in itself is unequal. The society by itself is not equal, because when we were sitting for drafting our constitution, there was no equality existing in our society, because our social system has been discriminatory in many ways. And there were historical, religious, social, cultural, economic reasons for it. So to start, I always remind my students when we have discussion on these principles of equality in our classrooms, that these special considerations are given to certain classes to raise them to the minimum required level to start equality process. Because some are more downward and some are more upward. So by giving special consideration, we are raising the downtrodden people to the required level to start the vehicle of equality. We cannot start the vehicle of equality by putting some people in the footboard, some people above the vehicle, or some people comfortably sitting in the vehicle. So to make everyone comfortable sitting in the equality vehicle, we should have special consideration. And your question has a different side also, whether we have achieved it, $1 million question. Unfortunately, we are still underperformers. It's not the problem of the documents, the principles like the Constitution, UDHR. These are beautiful instruments. But the runners who are working, we the people who are working, our own chosen leaders and administrators, governors, governments who run the system have miserably failed to ensure or to fulfill the promise of equality in our society. And we are still in the process of struggling for it. It's actually a continuous process because the struggle for equality of human beings never ends, because equality also is a dynamic concept. Thank you. Thank you for the igniting, thought-provoking question.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Girish, sir. As I told you, my first question is one associated question with that, if you don't mind, sir.
Okay, please.
Yes. You told that social system and the caste and the other things are responsible somewhere. Now, my second question is, sir, can we come up, or do you think that somewhere we as youngsters, rather than blaming the previous government or the administrative machinery, we should get into the system to start it, or else at least we can convey the message to the younger generation to get into the system and change it. Otherwise, as you told, it will be a continuous process, and it will always be a continuous process. So somewhere, rather than just what do you say, presenting on a piece of paper or discussing on that, can't we just initiate something where we get into the system and start doing for it? It's time of action, because it's our responsibility as youngsters, and when we have that much of knowledge with us, why not to take a proactive step and action to find a solution rather than blaming it to the government every time?
Very important point. Appreciating Dinesh, the young man who raised this question, because the attitude of our young generation must be relooked and reformed.
Sir, I hope you're on mute. Please, sir.
Discussing the social, political happenings around everywhere. You can see, take the case of our own techno city in Bangalore. The techie community, the new generation, is not at all taking part in the political process. Largely, there may be some exceptions. They are not worried, however bad is the system or corruption or problems in the system. They are happy if they are given good package and comfortable life and evening parties, etc. So it is very easy, as Dinesh has cited, it's very easy to stand outside and away and criticize. It's very easy to criticize from outside, but it is very difficult to enter and attempt to correct from inside. And we have to remember that it is the job and it's a duty. See, all these human rights, liberty, equality principles are given to us. It is the duty of the society, each member of the society, as individuals, to protect and preserve and hand it over to the future generation properly. That is the concept of sustainability. Our conference theme is sustainable business practices. Sustainable development means that societal development should be protected and transferred to the future generation without any harm. We have a duty to hand over this society, this social development to the future generation without any injury, because our forefathers have handed over it to us in a proper manner. We don't have the right or power to destroy it. It's our duty. But the society, many in the society are unfortunately very much casual to the duty, but very much concerned about the rights, but very much casual to the duty. As Dinesh has suggested, the young generation should involve in political process. In spite of having good education and profession and good living environment, they should work to reform the society also, enter political, social process, electoral process. They should not reduce themselves, the young generation in political parties we see. They are carrying the briefcase of the big leaders. They are just pasting posters and doing the social media campaign for septuagenarian or octogenarian leaders. The people who are not at all ready to give up power. No, they should revolt and they should go for doing revolutions inside the environment, and they should attempt to correct from inside. So it's a very important point. Society, please mind that society, the history will remember not those who have criticized the system from outside, but those who have attempted to correct the system from inside. Thank you, Dinesh. I agree with you. I totally share your concern.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Thank you, sir.